It is a warm, bright summer morning, and you are stepping out into your backyard to check on your carefully cultivated garden. The air is fresh, the soil is damp from a recent watering, and your rows of vegetables and herbs are reaching toward the sun. You walk over to your prized patch of dill, fennel, and parsley, anticipating the fragrant harvest you will use for your upcoming meals. But as you part the delicate green stems, your heart sinks as you spot a massive, brightly striped, alien-looking creature aggressively munching on your favorite plants. Your very first instinct, honed by years of agricultural conditioning, is to immediately grab a heavy shoe or a bottle of toxic bug spray to eliminate the threat. Be incredibly honest with yourself for a moment about how you handle these sudden backyard encounters with nature. Are you the type of homeowner who demands absolute pristine sterility in your garden, willing to wage chemical warfare just to save a few cents worth of leafy garnish for your dinner plate? Do you instantly declare a ruthless war on any insect that dares to take a bite out of your property, prioritizing cosmetic perfection over biological reality? If you are willing to admit that you frequently crush or poison these striped caterpillars the second you see them, I highly encourage you to defend your gardening methods down in the comments. We have been conditioned to view any form of insect activity as a massive failure on our part, leading to an endless cycle of panic and unnecessary destruction. But before you reach for that harsh insecticidal soap or mechanically crush the creature between your garden gloves, you must understand that you are looking at an incredible illusion. This supposedly ugly gluttonous pest is actually hiding a spectacular biological secret that has fascinated leading scientists and ecologists for generations. By killing it in a fit of frustration, you are not just saving a few minor sprigs of parsley, you are actively removing a vital cornerstone of your local environment. You are about to discover why elite botanists and passionate wildlife enthusiasts actually spend thousands of dollars and countless hours trying to invite this exact creature into their yards. Furthermore, the temporary cosmetic damage this creature inflicts is actually a mandatory down payment for a magnificent service your entire garden desperately needs to survive. If you have spent decades diligently picking these fat green caterpillars off your herbs and throwing them over the fence or into a bucket of soapy water, please know that you are not alone. Society has relentlessly taught us to fear and despise anything that creeps, crawls, or consumes the plants we have designated strictly for human use. We are bombarded with aggressive marketing campaigns for chemical pesticides that promise a perfectly unblemished, sterile yard devoid of all crawling life. We label these specific caterpillars as destructive parsley worms, treating them with the same intense hostility we reserve for genuine agricultural plagues like locusts or invasive beetles. But the truth is much more fascinating, and observing this creature requires a complete reframing of what it actually means to cultivate a healthy piece of the earth. Let us take a much closer look at this fascinating intruder currently clinging to the stem of your dill plant. At first glance, it appears almost comical, featuring a plump, bright green body wrapped in bold black bands that are dotted with striking yellow or orange spots. This vibrant pattern is not an accident, nor is it designed to mock your gardening efforts, but rather, it is a highly evolved warning system directed at the sky. In the natural world, these bright, contrasting colors send a very clear and universal message to predatory birds, indicating that this particular snack will taste absolutely terrible. It is a brilliant optical defense mechanism that allows this soft, slow-moving creature to sit right out in the open sun without being instantly devoured by a hungry sparrow. But that is only a small part of the story, because its daily existence is an absolute, high-stakes action thriller playing out in the miniature jungle of your backyard. The caterpillar is constantly surrounded by lethal threats, from parasitic wasps looking for a host to aggressive hunting spiders and predatory stink bugs. When it feels genuinely threatened or agitated by a sudden movement, the caterpillar deploys a hidden, secondary defense system that is truly spectacular to witness. It rears back its head and suddenly pushes out a bright orange forked organ from behind its neck that looks exactly like the flicking tongue of a dangerous snake. This bizarre organ, known as an osmeterium, simultaneously releases a powerful, foul-smelling chemical cloud that resembles the scent of rotting cheese, instantly repelling any attacking wasps or ants. This tiny, striped creature is fighting a desperate, terrifying war for survival every single second of the day, armed with nothing but colors and bad smells. It possesses absolutely no venom, it has no sharp stingers, and its microscopic jaws are completely incapable of breaking through human skin. To you, it is completely harmless, acting merely as a dedicated, single-minded machine whose only purpose is to consume enough raw energy to fuel an upcoming miracle. The caterpillar phase of this insect's life is essentially a ticking biological timer, a brief window of time where it must accumulate massive amounts of botanical building blocks. It does not eat your parsley out of malice. It eats because it is preparing to endure one of the most extreme physical transformations known to science. After approximately 2 weeks of relentless feeding, the caterpillar will suddenly stop eating your herbs and begin a restless journey away from its host plant. It will wander through the dense undergrowth, carefully searching for a sturdy, safe vertical surface, like a wooden fence post, a thick branch, or even the side of your house. Once it finds the perfect location, it anchors itself with a small button of sticky silk and spins a delicate, invisible safety harness around its upper body. It then leans back into this microscopic sling, perfectly mimicking the angle of a broken twig, and its vibrant striped skin begins to harden into a cryptic, brown or green shell. This is the chrysalis, a silent, motionless tomb where the caterpillar appears to have completely died, but inside, a violent and miraculous resurrection is just beginning. Once sealed inside this protective casing, the insect releases powerful digestive enzymes that literally dissolve its entire body into a rich, nutrient-dense biological soup. Everything that made it a caterpillar completely melts away, leaving only highly specialized clusters of cells known as imaginal discs floating in the liquid. These microscopic discs hold the ancient, genetic blueprints for an entirely different animal, and they rapidly begin consuming the biological soup to build new, complex structures. Over the course of 10 to 14 days, this liquid chaos orchestrates the flawless assembly of compound eyes, long, delicate antennae, and intricate vascular networks. The gluttonous, crawling worm that chewed on your fennel has been completely erased from existence, replaced by something entirely new and breathtaking. If this incredible journey from a heavily persecuted garden pest to a magnificent skybound architect has surprised you, consider subscribing to the channel so we can continue defending nature together. By joining our community, you help rewrite the narrative for countless misunderstood creatures that desperately need our protection and understanding. We are consistently uncovering the fascinating truths hiding in plain sight, proving that the natural world is far more complex and beautiful than we have been led to believe. Together, we can transform our yards from sterile, chemical battlegrounds into thriving sanctuaries for the most remarkable biological processes on the planet. When the transformation is finally complete, the chrysalis splits open and out crawls the spectacular adult form of the black swallowtail butterfly. This is the breathtaking secret the parsley worm was hiding all along, a magnificent, large-winged creature, draped in velvet black, highlighted with iridescent blue clouds and vibrant yellow crescent moons. It is universally considered one of the most stunning and graceful insects in the world, an absolute jewel of the sky that people travel miles to photograph in botanical gardens. The creature you almost crushed with your shoe has now become a vital, elegant dancer that will grace your garden with its presence for the rest of the summer. It will spend its days floating gracefully from blossom to blossom, completely ignoring the green leaves of your herbs in favor of the sweet nectar hidden deep inside your flowers. Perhaps you are currently thinking, this is a beautiful evolutionary tale, but I spent weeks tending to my herb garden, and I still want to harvest my crops without them being chewed to pieces. That is a completely fair and logical question for any hardworking gardener to ask, especially when grocery prices are high and homegrown food is highly valued. But this is where we must look at the larger, interconnected biological security system that keeps your entire yard functioning and producing food. The adult black swallowtail butterfly does not just drink nectar for fun, it is a highly efficient, desperately needed pollinator that your other vegetables absolutely rely upon. As it moves rapidly from flower to flower, its fuzzy legs and body gather microscopic grains of pollen, transferring them across your garden with incredible precision. Without the tireless daily work of flying pollinators like the swallowtail butterfly, your garden would become a barren, unproductive wasteland. The bright yellow flowers on your tomato plants would simply dry up and fall off without ever producing a single, juicy red fruit. Your cucumber vines would sprawl across the dirt endlessly, offering plenty of green leaves but never a single crisp vegetable for your summer salads. The harvest you are trying to protect with chemical sprays is actually completely dependent on the survival of the very insects those sprays are designed to kill. By sacrificing a small handful of parsley leaves to a hungry caterpillar, you are effectively paying the wages of the night shift and day shift pollinators that guarantee your ultimate harvest. We must also understand the highly specialized relationship this specific creature has with the plants in your garden, a concept ecologists refer to as host-plant dependency. The black swallowtail caterpillar is an incredibly picky eater. It cannot survive on tomato leaves, it will never touch your prize-winning roses, and it has zero interest in your manicured lawn. Through millions of years of strict evolution, this species has adapted to only consume plants from the carrot family, which includes dill, fennel, parsley, and wild Queen Anne's lace. When a female butterfly detects the distinct chemical signature of these specific herbs, she gently lands and deposits her tiny, spherical eggs on the tender foliage. She is not attacking your garden. She is trusting you with the survival of her offspring, treating your herb patch as a vital, biological nursery. This profound realization completely changes the dynamics of what a garden is actually supposed to be in the modern world. A yard that is completely free of chewed leaves, insects, and caterpillars is not a sign of masterful gardening. It is actually a glaring indicator of a collapsed, dead ecosystem. If nothing is eating your plants, it means your garden has become a toxic, sterile desert that offers absolutely no value to the surrounding web of life. We must abandon the unrealistic expectation that every single leaf must remain photographically perfect, and instead embrace the beautiful, chaotic reality of a shared habitat. The small amount of foliage lost to a caterpillar is a microscopic price to pay for the immense privilege of hosting a miracle of metamorphosis right on your own patio. Furthermore, it is crucial to recognize that the plants themselves have evolved perfectly alongside these hungry caterpillars over millions of years of shared history. A healthy, established dill or parsley plant is remarkably resilient and can easily withstand a significant amount of grazing from a few swallowtail caterpillars without suffering permanent damage. When the caterpillar inevitably wanders off to form its chrysalis, the plant responds to the pruning by rapidly pushing out fresh, new growth from its center. Within a matter of weeks, the missing foliage is completely replaced, leaving you with plenty of herbs to harvest and a clear conscience. You do not have to choose between having a productive herb garden and supporting local wildlife. With a little patience, nature perfectly accommodates both desires. For those who still feel anxious about sharing their limited harvest, the solution is incredibly simple and entirely peaceful. Instead of resorting to lethal force or stressful relocations, proactive gardeners intentionally plant extra herbs specifically designated as sacrificial offerings for the caterpillars. You can cultivate a large pot of fennel in a sunny corner of your yard, creating a dedicated nursery that draws the butterflies away from your primary culinary harvest. If you spot a striped caterpillar on a parsley plant you desperately need for dinner, you can simply break off that specific stem and gently move the creature to the decoy fennel. This strategic, diplomatic approach to gardening allows you to reap the benefits of fresh herbs while simultaneously acting as a crucial guardian for a declining population of spectacular pollinators. The tragedy of the modern pesticide industry is that it convinces well-meaning homeowners that every single crawling insect is a mortal enemy that must be eradicated immediately. When you spray a broad-spectrum chemical on your herbs to kill one visible caterpillar, you are indiscriminately wiping out hundreds of invisible, beneficial allies. You destroy the tiny, predatory wasps that keep the aphid populations in check, and you poison the soil microbes that provide essential nutrients to your plant roots. The chemical residue lingers on the flowers, silently poisoning the adult butterflies and bees that arrive days later hoping to drink the nectar. In your desperate attempt to save a single garnish, you accidentally burn down the entire biological security system that keeps your property healthy. This brings us back to the open questions we pondered when you first walked into your garden and saw that fat green intruder. We asked what spectacular secret this supposed pest was hiding, and why destroying it would be a catastrophic mistake for your backyard ecosystem. The secret is that the ugly, gluttonous worm is merely the heavy terrestrial anchor for one of the most elegant, skybound pollinators on the planet. The mistake is believing that human beings can violently micromanage a complex biological network without causing massive, unforeseen ripple effects across the entire food web. By killing the caterpillar, you cancel the butterfly, and by canceling the butterfly, you silently starve the very garden you were trying to protect. We are currently facing a global decline in pollinator populations, driven by habitat loss, aggressive agriculture, and the excessive use of residential pesticides. Every time a homeowner decides to let a black swallowtail caterpillar peacefully consume a few stalks of dill, they are striking a small but vital victory for global conservation. Your backyard, no matter how small, is a critical stepping stone in a vast, interconnected network of wild spaces that these delicate creatures rely upon for survival. You possess the incredible power to either be a destructive force of chemical sterility or a generous host who provides a safe harbor for the ancient magic of metamorphosis. The next time you part the green stems of your herb garden and come face to face with that vibrant striped caterpillar, take a deep breath and pause your natural instincts. Do not see a gluttonous pest that threatens your dinner, but rather a temporary honored guest that is preparing to perform a biological miracle. Observe the intricate details of its colorful armor, marvel at its singular dedication to survival, and appreciate the immense trust the mother butterfly placed in your garden. Step back, put the bug spray away, and allow the quiet, beautiful machinery of the natural world to operate exactly as it was designed to, because sometimes, the absolute best thing a human being can do for the planet is to simply do nothing at all and watch the magic unfold.